Now on 4 News Now at 6, voter turnout and election security. How your vote is being protected in Kootenai County this midterm election.
Spooky conditions tonight mean you may need to add an umbrella to your costume. But who's in the sweet spot this Halloween night in your trick-or-treat forecast?
And a shakeup at Spokane's homeless shelters. The Salvation Army is taking over the Trent and Cannon shelters tomorrow. Its new approach to clearing Camp Hope. You're watching 4 News Now at 6 o'clock. Happy Halloween, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Aaron Luna. Kirsten O'Connor is off tonight. She's out trick-or-treating with her daughter. There she is on your screen, all dressed up. That's not Kirsten, that's her daughter, Gigi.
Yes, I put that together.
Just want to make sure we're all very clear. Trick-or-treaters in the inland Northwest. Maybe getting more trick than treat in the forecast, Chris.
Depends on where you are. If you are heading out right now in Spokane, we are mostly, well, we are completely dry in Spokane. And it looks like we are going to stay dry during the prime trick-or-treat hours from about I-90 north through Deer Park and beyond. As we head into southern Spokane County and around Coeur d'Alene, that's where we bring in the chance of rain, and it is slowly making its way to the north. But again, I think by the time most trick-or-treaters are home and in bed, that rain will start moving in. Here's a broader view on our satellite and radar. Not quite as lucky down on the Palouse, where we have showers in progress around Moscow and Pullman. Some very light rain in Moses Lake, and you may get sprinkled on in Sandpoint as well. It is a breezy night right now. We are looking at winds generally 10 miles per hour or less, but we've had wind gusts even in the last 15 or 20 minutes up to 25 miles per hour. So you may find a gust adding to the spooky scene in your neighborhood. Temperatures, meanwhile, are running a little above average, but we're going to have a good drop in those temperatures tomorrow. In the meantime, look out for the chance of rain this evening, particularly, again, south of I-90. Otherwise, you may be staying dry. What a treat. I'll be back with your 7-day forecast. Some serious weather to tell you about on the way for the end of the week. That's in just a few minutes, Aaron.
Thank you, Chris. Wet weather has delayed construction on North Monroe Street. They're laying asphalt, yet the sticky material underneath the asphalt doesn't take when it's wet. Spokane's Public Works Department says the current plan is to work on the west side lane starting tomorrow morning. Then it will take another week to complete the final steps like stripping and small repairs. The project is now expected to be finished between November 9th and 11th. In our For the People election coverage, voters in Idaho and Washington have 8 days left to cast their votes in the midterm elections. We're at a time when election security has been questioned. So here at 4 News Now, we're doing all we can to get answers for the people. Emily Bloom is live in Coeur d'Alene, where she spent the day talking to voters and residents. Emily.
Yeah, Aaron, the overall consensus that we gathered from folks today is that they do believe the election is secure. As the county commissioner explains, the accuracy of the machine counting changes everything.
Typically, one day before the election, at the clerk's request, we'll conduct what's known as a logic and accuracy test.
This involves a machine count of 3 separate ballots through 3 separate machines.
The idea and the objective being that the result should come out the same with all 3, which it typically does. The machine count is highly reliable.
This has been going on for some time. It's processes like these that give Philios and voters peace of mind.
I have total confidence in it. There's been no major incidents.
Dave Oliveira knows Jim Brannon, the Kootenai County clerk, runs a tight ship.
I've covered it as a reporter for the Spokesman Review, for the press. I've covered it since 1984. There's no problems. I've never seen a problem.
That faith is a crucial component in election security.
Once you lose that confidence, and then eventually that leads to a potential loss of confidence in democratic institutions, and then when that happens, the country is ripe for civil strife.
A lot of unrest.
I think that our biggest problem is there's been a lot of things said about election integrity across the United States, stemming from the 2020 election.
Stems from the last election.
Again, it depends who you talk to. Most secretaries of state say the 2020 election was the most secure in history.
Oliveira plans to cast his vote next Tuesday.
I usually vote on election day. Okay. I like going to the polls, and I like greeting the people that are taking the votes, taking their time out to handle this situation.
As of 2 p.m. this afternoon, there was 2,550 early votes cast. That is out of just over 103,000 people that are registered to vote in Kootenai County. Now, the influx of people moving to North Idaho throughout the pandemic could change not only voter turnout, but the overall vote as well. Reporting live in Coeur d'Alene, Emily Bloom, 4 News Now.
Emily, thank you. The Spokane County Elections Office is now working with $42,000 worth of new security surveillance cameras to make sure your vote is secure. The surveillance systems come from the Help America Vote Act. Spokane County was awarded nearly $400,000 total, and that will be spent through 2024. Now, these cameras are motion detecting. They don't record, they record, they do not stream. And Spokane County elections officials tell us the cameras will not record confidential voter information like email addresses, signatures, and votes.
We had a grant, so we upgraded to include all access points to that and the recording of them. So we didn't have to put tapes in or do that, so we can actually have the retention period for these cameras.
Elections officials say the system was turned on in mid-October. Here at 4 News Now, we want to help you stay informed this election season. If you have any questions or concerns about the midterms, give us your questions at kxly.com/forthepeople, and we'll work to get an answer for you right here on 4 News Now. The Salvation Army is taking over the Trent and Cannon homeless shelters. We're diving into what the Salvation Army is bringing. That's coming up tonight at 6:30. Also, still to come, inflation puts pressure on everything from gas to Halloween candy. How much we're spending this year on the holiday festivities, that's coming up. Plus, a race on your ballot will have a huge impact on the nation. We're watching Washington's tight U.S. Senate race after the break.
News Now on your time with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
You'll love saving your green at Jennifer's.
Happy Take and Bake Tuesday!
Every Tuesday at Papa Murphy's, you can get any large pizza for just $12, which makes Tuesday the best day to bring home all your favorites.
We might have too many favorites.
Order now at papamurphys.com.
September 7th was horrible.
All hell broke loose.
80% of the town lost their homes.
My family's home burned to the ground.
It was just heartbreaking.
Kathy was there for us.
Not taking political sides.
She's done a lot.
Put her name on the line to help here.
Kathy helped us start the journey to rebuilding.
She went above and beyond.
She genuinely actually cares.
I'm Kathy McMorris-Rogers, and I approve this message.
The world needs solutions.
Like now.
We need more voices.
More voices?
More voices.
Not less.
We don't build barriers.
We tear them down!
I learn from great books, but I write my own story.
And look to the future.
The world needs me.
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 Me. Me. Me.
In America, we have a pressure from every quarter trying to destroy the opportunity for people to be able to build their own futures. We see an economy that has gone from the strongest economy that we have seen to one in which we have raging inflation. Our borders must be protected. We are seeing unprecedented entry, 2 million illegal entries, with the drugs and the violence that comes with it. I'm going to fight to make sure that we stop those problems. I'm Mike Crapo, and I approve this message.
Home. It's both a place and a feeling. At yours, you strive to make new memories, create traditions, share stories, find the fun, embrace the surprises, and celebrate moments big and small. Memories are made at home, in every room, in every moment. Make your house feel like home at the Tin Roof.
911, what's your emergency?
I smell something delicious and I don't know what it is.
Ma'am, we traced the smell and it's coming from inside your oven.
Ah, amazing!
Papa Murphy's.
We are 8 days away from Election Day, and the race for U.S. Senator is very close right now. Tiffany Smiley and Patty Murray continue to battle for a seat in Washington, D.C. Both candidates wrapped up their second and final meeting Sunday evening during a town hall discussion in Seattle. But with the race this tight, they're not sitting on their heels. KXLY's Jordan Smith has been following this race. He joins us in studio with what voters can expect to see from these candidates and how close this contest has become.
Well, the implications of this race cannot be understated, especially as some polls are showing that Tiffany Smiley is closing the gap. After answering to voters during Sunday's town hall, both candidates still have money to spend and are looking to make the most of these final 8 days to get voters in their corner.
Now both candidates are here in the same room. And
just 24 hours ago, candidates running for the U.S. Senate answered questions directly from voters, addressing a multitude of issues.
What might be the best way to reunite the country beyond your individual political views?
What is your position on gun control to curb violence in Washington?
Both candidates stayed true to form, not wavering from their established stances. But it's the final time we'll see these candidates face off. With just 8 days left to sway undecided voters, Murray and Smiley are back at the campaign trail, still with funds to spare. So just how close is this race? We've been following a poll by the site 538. This site has been tracking 7 different polls for this race, posting the average findings of all of the polls combined. Back at the end of August, they reported that Murray had a comfortable double-digit lead. Fast forward to Saturday, and it shows Smiley has clawed to within 7 points. Though it's important to note, no poll is a perfect indication of where any race stands. With this contest tightening up, candidates are doubling down, investing in the final days of their campaign. In the past week, Smiley has released 3 new ads, targeting Murray for rising prices and increased crime.
Now, record rapes, carjacking, murders, and overdoses plague our communities. Who's to blame? Patty Murray.
Murray has fired back with ads of her own.
Don't give them their chance. Oppose Tiffany Smiley before it's too late.
According to Open Secrets, Smiley has spent just under $15 million during this campaign. Incumbent Senator Murray, over $20 million. Both have roughly $1.5 million left at their disposal. And it's likely we'll see more of those advertisements like the ones you just saw, trying to sway undecided voters into their corners. Regardless of how that money is spent, this is bound to be an exciting race to watch. Back to you, Aaron.
Jordan, thank you. And for more information on the candidates on your ballot, head to the 4 News Now Facebook or KXLY.com/forthepeople. You have all the information you need there, including the voter guide.
Temperatures got above average today, 53 in Spokane. Our average high now is in the 40s, but we are not going to be above average for long. A dip in our temperatures, and that includes the possibility of some snow in the forecast. I'll tell you all about it after the break.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
4 News Now is brought to you by the Coeur d'Alene Resort.
Is one casino really any better than the next? Well, at Northern Quest, we've got the largest gaming floor in the region, not to mention the most slot titles, the most payouts, the largest selection of table games, the lowest minimum bets, the highest maximum bets, and a state-of-the-art sports book. So you tell us. Northern Quest, yes, the best. Play daily to win 2 Polaris snowmobiles or a flurry of cash on November 30th.
There's a clear choice for Senate. While Tiffany Smiley stood with Mitch McConnell and the big drug companies to oppose lowering the cost of prescription drugs, Patty Murray is busy working for us.
I worked with Democrats and Republicans to ban surprise medical bills, and I led the fight to pass legislation to lower the cost of prescription drugs, including capping insulin at $35 a month. I'm Patty Murray. I approve this message to focus on what really matters, you.
My husband and I have had the Harvester for about 13 years. If there's anything you want to know about Spangle, come in and find out at the Harvester. Avista contacted us about the business partner program to upgrade our lights to LED lights. Between the energy efficient rebates that we got in the grant, it was completely free to us. On our energy bill, we're saving about $500 a month. Everything has gone up, so that savings has been a huge help to the restaurant.
This week on America's favorite morning show, the stars of the most anticipated movie of the year are live on GMA's Wakanda Forever Week. Plus, one of the biggest rock stars, well, ever, Bono live with George on GMA.
They keep us safe, put their lives on the line every day. Yet radicals want to defund the police and give criminals get-out-of-jail-free cards. That's the last thing we need. Law enforcement has a champion, Kathy McMorris Rodgers. Kathy says no to defunding the police and voted to secure more funding for local police departments. Endorsed by police and sheriffs, Kathy backs the blue and they back her.
I'm Kathy McMorris Rodgers and I approve this message.
Thank you to everyone who has donated to this year's Coats for Kids campaign. Today is the last day that we are accepting donations. You can go Safeway, Albertsons. Something tells me if you showed up with a coat tomorrow at Global, they would take it. But Alsco is busy cleaning the coats.
So busy.
Really already started distribution in some locations. If you go to KXLY.com/Coats for Kids, all the distribution information is there.
It's an exciting time. I love the transition between collecting and distribution. Even though they kind of overlap a little bit, it really feels like the energy that everyone put in is paying off.
Yes, and to see those kids with a nice warm coat, new or gently used in many cases, it is fantastic.
And it's much needed because look at this forecast coming up.
Yes, you're going to need to dig out your coats, folks. Let's start right now with a look at our radar. We're zoomed in on the Spokane area because we're starting to see some of those showers moving in, a little bit of light rain at Hauser, south of Spirit Lake. In southern Spokane County, a sprinkle or two, as well as in parts of Kootenai County. And then we find the steady rains further to the south over the Palouse. Rain likely overnight tonight, and it will be breezy this evening, but then those winds will be dying down. 37 for an overnight low. Tomorrow, rain showers, 43 degrees for a high 10-degree drop from today. Our chance of rain tomorrow from 6 in the morning throughout the day. We at least have a chance of rain throughout the day, and it's going to be a cold rain. Here's a look at our forecast radar, starting off at our current time with the band of precipitation to our south and a little bit to the east. That is going to start filling in. Here's 11 o'clock tonight. Hopefully everybody's home and nobody has a tummy ache and they're getting ready for another day of school. And then that rain moves in overnight. It's going to be a soggy start to the day tomorrow. Snow level will be dropping. May see a little bit of snow mixing in, but mainly in the northern valleys you'll be seeing that. We have a better chance to see some snow mixing in with the rain and perhaps even some accumulating snow on the grassy surfaces by Wednesday morning. Here's Tuesday at midnight or at noon. As we get through the day on Tuesday, we start to see that snow level dropping Tuesday night and into Wednesday. Meanwhile, we are tracking a storm coming in Friday night and into Saturday, and it's something I want to give you a first alert on so you can be planning and thinking ahead as we dial in the details on this storm. It is a cold front Friday evening that has the potential to be a significant storm with strong damaging winds. Right now looking like 50-mile-per-hour plus gusts. That is enough to knock out power, cause some tree damage, and so again, we are going to be dialing in on the details as it gets closer to time, but be thinking about it, and wanted to be the first to alert you. Overnight lows tonight will be down in the 30s and 40s. High temperatures tomorrow in the 40s and even a couple of 50s on the map tomorrow. Your planning forecast, a little bit of a snow event coming in Tuesday into Wednesday. I say little bit, little on the grassy surfaces. That'll be turning to rain as we warm up to 43 on Wednesday. Thursday looks like the only dry day in the forecast, because when we're in Friday and Saturday, we bring in that wind and some cooler air with the potential of some accumulating snow later in the forecast, Saturday into Sunday, and even possibly on Monday. we may have more snow coming. Boy, wait till you see the 8 to 14 day forecast. I think the ski resorts are going to be jumping with joy, and you might want to make that appointment at the tire store too. That's coming up in the next half hour, Aaron.
Oh boy, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. Thank you, Chris. Inflation and recession fears are not scaring away trick-or-treaters this spooky season. According to the National Retail Federation, Halloween spending could reach a record level this fall. More people are planning to celebrate the holiday this year and spend an expected $10.6 billion, despite soaring prices. The costumes are the biggest expense at $3.6 billion, followed by decorations at $3.4, candy $3.1 billion. The NRF also says that those celebrating more than any other age group are the younger consumers, Gen Z.
Consumers under the age of 25 are turning out in full force. About 87% say they're planning to celebrate the holiday this year, and we're seeing the highest levels of spending in areas like adult costumes that we've seen in about 5 years.
That COVID-related restrictions are easing. They're more comfortable partying, going on bar crawls, and attending social gatherings. The NRF says they're also putting a focus on dressing up this year.
Getting inspiration from TikTok, from Instagram, from Pinterest, and other social platforms.
1 in 5 people plan to put their pet in a costume, with pet spending expected to exceed last year's record high, reaching $710 million. Calling all ghouls and goblins, all of us at 4 News Now want to see your costumes this Halloween season. For a chance for yours to be shown right here on air, just submit that picture online at KXLY.com. Researchers at Columbia University studied more than 500,000 teens for nearly 30 years. They found that fewer are using cigarettes, alcohol, and illegal substances, but teens are smoking marijuana and vaping more. Researchers noted substance abuse was higher among teens with a lot of unsupervised free time. The study did not examine the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on drug use, but it does give us an idea of the trend affecting our teens. Former President Donald Trump is asking for help from the Supreme Court. What this could mean for the House and Trump's tax returns coming up next. Also, at the Supreme Court, 2 landmark cases are challenging affirmative action admission policies at U.S. colleges and universities. More on that right after the break.
Download the 4 News Now app today.
I'm Mark Peterson, the Extreme Team and Horizon Credit Union, ready to take on the next task. If you know of a project that needs an Extreme Team makeover, go to KXLY.com to nominate it. 4 News Now Extreme Team brought to you by Horizon Credit Union.
Every election, they keep coming back. Career politicians. This year, treat yourself to a change. Patty Murray's been in office for 30 years. The scary results? Reckless spending triggered record inflation, with crushing gas and grocery prices. And we're all terrified by runaway horrific crime. After 30 years, it's time to break the spell and make Patty Murray disappear from the Senate. ESA Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
When I was told I had a brain tumor, my life disappeared in a moment. I feared for my future, but even more, I feared for the ones I love. How would they move on without me? But when my doctor told me about the Gamma Knife of Spokane, everything changed. I can get my brain tumor treated in just 1 day and continue living the life I love. Because of Gamma Knife, I have hope.
I've never liked political ads that attack, but with my opponent, we better start tightening budgets to pay for the state income tax that he supports. My opponent believes that Tent City has never caused an increase in crime. We can expect more crime, more taxes, and more regulations that make housing more expensive. I support safer neighborhoods, lower taxes, and addressing homelessness and housing. I support you, the hardworking people of Spokane. Vote Kim, please, for County Commissioner.
Are you a U.S. citizen? Are you 18 or older? Have you lived in Washington state for at least 30 days? If so, you are likely eligible to vote in Washington. Voter pamphlets and ballots are available in multiple languages. Your vote is your voice, and your voice matters. Make a plan to vote. Learn more about eligibility at sos.wa.gov and get registered today at votewa.gov.
I'm Mark Peterson, the Extreme Team and Horizon Credit Union, ready to take on the next task. If you know of a project that needs an Extreme Team makeover, go to KXLY.com to nominate it. 4 News Now Extreme Team brought to you by Horizon Credit Union.
4 News Now is brought to you by the Coeur d'Alene Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Protesters gathered outside the Supreme Court today. The High Court takes up 2 landmark cases challenging affirmative action admission policies at U.S. colleges and universities. Though the practice has been a standard in higher education for 40 years to increase diversity on college campuses, a conservative and multiracial coalition of 22,000 students and parents argues it's actually leading to discrimination. ABC's Justin Finch has more from Washington, D.C.
A decades-long precedent in education could be overturned as the Supreme Court is once again being asked to consider whether race should play a role in college and university admissions.
Racial classifications are wrong. That principle was enshrined in our law at great cost following the Civil War.
I'm struggling to understand how race is actually factoring into the admissions process here, and whether there's any actual redressable injury that arises.
The High Court has previously ruled race can be used as a factor, among others, as campuses seek more diverse student bodies. But that could change this session with the court's 6-3 conservative majority and Americans changing attitudes. A Pew Research poll this year finds more than 6 out of 10 Americans oppose using race or ethnicity in college admissions, including majorities of Hispanic, Asian, and African Americans surveyed.
The heart of the issue is, should colleges and universities treat students differently because of their race and their ethnicity?
Edward Blum of Students for Fair Admissions is behind the Supreme Court challenges to affirmative action at Harvard University and the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, arguing those policies disadvantage white and Asian American students and violate civil and constitutional rights. Lower courts rejected Blum's position, citing Supreme Court precedent, but the High Court chose to take up both cases. Harvard and UNC underscoring race is only part of their holistic review of applicants and is crucial to sustaining minority student enrollment. And new Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is recusing herself from that Harvard case as a former member of its overseers board. The court is expected to render its decision next year. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
Former President Donald Trump doesn't want his tax returns released. His legal team filed an emergency request with the Supreme Court today after a federal appeals court cleared the way for the returns to be disclosed to a House committee. In the filing, Trump requests an administrative hold on the release by Wednesday because Thursday is when their disclosure goes into effect. The Supreme Court justices are considering whether to review the lower court's ruling. The Trump Organization's criminal tax fraud and grand larceny trial started this morning in New York. Prosecutors accused the company of a 15-year scam to help its executives dodge taxes by giving them lavish perks off the books. Former President Trump is not a defendant in the case, and he's not expected to be implicated in any wrongdoing. A different way to clear Camp Hope. Another organization is taking over 2 Spokane homeless shelters. We look into the changes coming up after the break on 4 News Now.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
The people ask us to bring peace to the city of Spokane. House mainstream accepts.
I know you. There's something awakening in your mind.
You must face your fears.
Come with me. You need to be ready.
You can get your smile back today. At Affordable Dentures and Implants, we make high-quality tooth replacement affordable for everyone. So whether it's a single tooth, full dentures, or life-changing dental implants, we have an experienced dentist who can help you go ahead and smile. Click or call to schedule your new smile consultation today.
Go ahead and smile.
It's a prime-time Plinko party like you've never seen. Qualify in November and win a shot at Plinko Cash at the Kootenai Casino in Bonners Ferry. And our Plinko party is just the beginning. Midweek room rates are just $109 for Kootenai Falls Lodge or $129 for a Riverview room. Both come with breakfast for two. If you like parties and you like winning cash, book a getaway to the Kootenai Casino. Call 888-YOU-ARE-LUCKY or visit KootenaiRiverInn.com.
Oh, life, how we admire you, are deeply fascinated by you. All your twists and turns and wild rides you take us on. The ups and the downs. Life, you live inside all of us, breathing, growing, beating. You are the reason we'll always provide world-class healthcare. Providence, we see the life in you.
World exclusive. The Jason Sudeikis, Olivia Wilde, Harry Styles divorce triangle. Now their nanny speaks. Next, Inside Edition.
What did you see on set between Harry and Olivia?
The nanny's first TV interview.
I told her the one word I can just describe this as or give it is selfishness. He's grieving now. She's happy as can be.
She's in love with somebody else.
She's in love with somebody else.
The nanny story. What she says she saw. Next, Inside Edition.
Watch 4 News Now at 6 and Inside Edition at 7. Live from downtown Spokane, this is 4 News Now at 6:30.
A major shakeup is happening at this shelter, a new provider and a new approach to clear Camp Hope. Starting tomorrow, the Salvation Army will run both the Trent Resource Center and Cannon Shelter. With winter rapidly approaching, the city is scrambling to move people inside and try out a new model they learned about in Texas. Esther Bauer is live at Camp Hope with what the city learned and how it wants it to work in Spokane. Esther.
Well, the mayor says she wants to start a navigation center at the Trent Shelter here at the homeless camp. Homeless advocates say there's already a navigation center here for people, and some are not convinced the new approach will work.
How do you fill a center up to 400 people and then navigate the amount of service providers needed to make that work?
Those are the questions Jules Helping Hands has for the city. Julie Garcia knows Trent is big, but isn't convinced it can hold everything.
This is an absolute navigation center. That is all it's used for.
Meals, medical care, and connection to services is what numerous local and state providers are already offering right across the street from Camp Hope. The location still isn't ideal for the city.
It's going to get cold, and it's going to be really tough for people living in tents during our winter months. And so if we can offer them a much better, safer, warmer option with the intent to move them into housing, I think that's a better option.
It's an option several of these people haven't taken, and Garcia says many tried out Trent but came back to the camp instead.
I think that what they were looking for is space looking more like the Way Out Transitional Center.
The Salvation Army runs that model already. On Tuesday, they'll run Trent.
Help them move from where they are to where they can be to achieve their goals.
The goal is to find housing and close the camp. And Garcia has hope the Salvation Army will take Trent to a new level.
Salvation Army does a very good job at being a good community partner with the service providers.
And the mayor says her goal is to still clear this camp by November. But when it comes to that access tent, it recently was just permitted, and that permit goes through June of next year. Homeless advocates say they have heaters on site, and their goal is to keep people alive here at this camp through the winter. Reporting live in East Central, Esther Bauer, 4 News Now.
Esther, thank you. A federal lawsuit is now being filed against city and county leaders to stop a sweep at Camp Hope. The challengers are 3 people who live at the encampment, Jules Helping Hands, and Disability Rights of Washington. The lawsuit asks the judge to keep people at the camp as long as WSDOT allows. They say the city's goal to clear the camp violates the Americans with Disabilities Act. The lawsuit mentions a large percentage of people with disabilities. They say people who can't perform activities without assistance are there. Assistance they claim can be accessed at the camp. The lawsuit asks the judge to stop anyone from being arrested or moved. City leaders are still looking to remove the camp by November 15th. Take a look at the night sky over downtown Spokane. Some trick-or-treaters facing some scary weather here tonight. Chris, how's it looking so far?
Well, I would say some of the little ones that wrap up early will stay dry, but there's some showers moving in. Here are 4 things to know about your weather. A rainy and breezy evening over much of the inland northwest. We have more wet weather on Tuesday. Snow levels will be dropping Tuesday night. I think many of us will wake up with some snow on the grassy surfaces on Wednesday. We do have a wind event on the way for Friday night into Saturday. Still working on the details there. Here we are on our Doppler radar, zoomed in. Things have changed quite a bit since the last time we looked at this earlier in the broadcast, with some very light rain moving into Coeur d'Alene. There's some rain at Hayden, Hauser, approaching Spirit Lake, and for much of southern Spokane County. I don't think it will be long until we'll have some rain in Spokane Valley and in downtown as well. Satellite and radar shows most of the wet weather is to our south and east, with some heavier precipitation on trick-or-treaters in the Palouse. Wind gusts to 25 miles per hour in Spokane, with sustained winds at 15. Those winds will be dying down later this evening, but expect some showers through the trick-or-treating hours. Temperatures in the 40s. Not bad. We've had much colder Halloweens, that is for sure. We are going to be quite a bit colder in the forecast. I will have the spooky details on that in just a few minutes, Aaron.
Thank you, Chris. Breaking updates to the attack on the House Speaker's husband. The suspect, David DePape, has been charged for violently assaulting Paul Pelosi with a hammer. The 82-year-old is still in the hospital after receiving surgery for a fractured skull. A source familiar with the matter saying Paul Pelosi spoke to investigators and shared details of the attack over the weekend from the hospital. ABC's Morgan Norwood has more breaking updates on the suspect.
The suspect, who police say violently bludgeoned House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer inside their San Francisco home, now facing federal charges. The Department of Justice charging David DePape with 1 count of assault of an immediate family member of a United States official and 1 count of attempted kidnapping of a United States official. The district attorney also set to announce another set of criminal charges for DePape.
This was a targeted act on the Pelosi home, for sure.
Law enforcement officials telling ABC News the suspect, David DePape, had zip ties and duct tape with him as he broke into Pelosi's home, calling out, "Where's Nancy?" in search of the House Speaker, who was in D.C. at the time. The circumstances eerily similar to the January 6th attack, where some brought zip ties into the Capitol to find elected officials and to take them hostage. Speaker Pelosi was one of the targets that day and during Friday's attack inside her own home. Police arriving within 2 minutes. They say when they ordered DePape to drop the hammer, he hit Pelosi at least twice, fracturing his skull. Speaker Pelosi issuing a statement on Saturday saying in part, her family is heartbroken. Authorities are now combing through the suspect's social media pages, some allegedly showing multiple false conspiracy theories about COVID-19, the 2020 election, and the federal government. The attack highlighting the growing hostility toward members of Congress, with threats at an all-time high, more than doubling since 2017. Ahead of the high-stakes midterm elections, a joint FBI Homeland Security bulletin sent to police nationwide now warns of a heightened threat by lone wolves, urging cities and law enforcement to be vigilant. And if convicted on the federal charges, DePape could face up to 50 years in prison. He's set to go before a San Francisco judge tomorrow. I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Los Angeles.
A major breakthrough in the so-called Delphi murders. 5 years later, Indiana State Police arrested 50-year-old Richard Allen for the killings of 8th graders Abby Williams and Libby German.
Today is not a day to celebrate, but the arrest of Richard M. Allen of Delphi on 2 counts of murder is sure a major step in leading to the conclusion of this long-term and complex investigation.
13-year-old Williams and 14-year-old German mysteriously vanished after going for a hike on a day off from school back in February of 2017 in Delphi. It's about 70 miles north of Indianapolis. The bodies of the best friends were found the next day on Valentine's Day. The murders rattled the small, tight-knit town of just about 3,000 people.
Never forgotten them. Everybody's going to keep them in their minds forever.
Suspect Allen, who was taken into custody last week, is a member of the Delphi community who worked at a local CVS. Police have sifted through a substantial amount of evidence, including thousands of tips and a digital trail from German. Allen is being held without bond and has pleaded not guilty. His trial is set to start in March. Coming up on 4 News Now, in South Korea, more than 150 people were killed during a Halloween celebration. How the community and the world is reacting to that tragedy. Plus, later in sports, we hear about Jake Dickert's costume plans for Halloween and why it isn't the scariest thing Washington State will see all week.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
4 News Now is brought to you by Pint House Burgers and Brews.
Each month, 4 News Now is focusing on a cause that's important to our community by helping to get the message out. This is good for you to know.
Cancer Care Northwest, we are committed to providing people with the most up-to-date treatments, including immune-based therapies. This is an immune-based therapy that happens to work linked to a chemotherapy. The name of this drug is trastuzumab deruxtecan. It's an antibody, that's the trastuzumab, that's bind with a linking molecule to a very potent type of chemo called deruxtecan. And that chemo, when it is brought into the cancer cells by the antibody, what it does is it interferes with the ability of those cancer cells to divide and grow. Just even in a 1.5 years of follow-up, it doubled the time to progression. What that means is the time it takes for cancer to get wise to that mechanism of action and then progress on and need a different medicine. That's a big deal because it means so much for people in terms of, the time that they have. It also improves survival by about 30%, which is, amazing to see, again, compared to standard chemo. This is the kind of finding at a meeting that gets a standing ovation. This is the first targeted treatment for HER2/neu positive cancer that actually works in HER2/neu 1+ and 2+, which is HER2/neu low. At Cancer Care Northwest, we are committed to offering patients the most innovative treatments for breast cancer.
Why are you green?
It's Halloween.
The force is with me.
I would have thought that you had more Halloween spirit.
I express it after work.
Happy Halloween.
The Good Doctor. New tonight on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Next ET, we're in D.C. with the cast of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Excited for you guys to see it.
Plus, only we're with Michael J. Fox for his big New York gala.
It's really special.
Then our Trick or Treat exclusive with Prince Jackson.
Growing up watching Thriller, I was always terrified of, is my dad ever going to turn into a werecat?
And
E.T. Welcome to Hawaii. Aloha.
It's Hawaii Week. Next ET.
Watch 4 News Now at 6 and Entertainment Tonight at 7:30.
Well, take a look at this spooky sight. A trio of witches took to the Spokane River for some stand-up paddleboard action this afternoon.
We just want to get out on our paddleboards and have a little witchy magic on Halloween this year. So we're 3 sisters.
Sisters in real life, too, and they dressed up as the Sanderson sisters from the popular Halloween movie Hocus Pocus. They paddleboarded from downtown Spokane up the river, I should say, to No Lie Brewery. Just after lunchtime today, the sisters tell us their paddles make for good broomsticks. Good thing the water was pretty flat. We wouldn't want those witches to melt, Chris.
Yes, I like those sisters. What a fun and bold activity. It was windy out there this afternoon, although temperatures above average for highs today. This may be the last time we're in the 50s for highs for quite some time. We're 53 at the airport, 53 in Liberty Lake, in the mid-50s in downtown Spokane Valley, 56 today at 9 Mile. We're going to be in the 40s for the next several days as some cooler air comes in for Tuesday, along with the possibility of some snow by the time we wake up on Wednesday, just a dusting on the grassy surfaces. However, more. Here's our temperature trend over the next 7 days. This white line is average. Today it's at 49. We're looking at mid 40s to lower 40s on Thursday. We warm up a little bit Friday. That's going to be a southwesterly flow in advance of a very strong cold front coming in. That's going to really start to impact our temperatures the second half of the weekend and into early next week. 36 on Monday. This graphic picks up where that last one left off. This is the 8 to 14 day forecast, November 8th through the 14th, and the inland northwest is in that medium to dark blue, indicating a fairly strong trend toward below average temperatures. Also, there's hints of above average precipitation. That spells snow to me down in the valleys and in the mountains, where we are still crossing our fingers for a Thanksgiving opening for the ski areas. Here's our forecast radar starting off at our current time. We're starting to see that light rain working its way into the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area. 11 o'clock tonight, it's not going to be raining very heavily. Most of the more steady rains are going to be to our south until we get into the overnight, and then we'll see that steady rain. Here's 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Expect a wet start to the day tomorrow with some snow in the northern valleys on the grassy surfaces. Should be okay on the roadways. Here's noon tomorrow with more rain. That rain's going to continue through the evening commute before we start to dry off. At least this computer model has us drying off. Good thing, because with those temperatures dropping, we would see some snow. Meanwhile, the possibility of some snow showers off and on Wednesday, but probably nothing that we'll have to shovel or deal with. But there's a hint of things to come. Cooler, but it looks like we're going to be dry on Thursday, our one dry day in the forecast. Wet weather coming in Friday and into Saturday, and that is when we have the potential to see some damaging winds, 50-mile-per-hour and stronger gusts. We are going to be keeping you updated on that, alerting you constantly about any changes in the forecast as that approaches. We want to keep you safe because wind events in November is a bad combination, Aaron.
It sure is. Thank you, Chris. Well, there's a developing story that's trending across social media. Twitter's new billionaire owner, Elon Musk, still working to shake things up on the social media platform. Twitter's board of directors has been dissolved. That's according to a securities filing from today. The announcement comes after Musk quickly terminated at least 4 of Twitter's top executives shortly after acquiring Twitter on Thursday. And Twitter's considering charging users $19.99 a month for the blue verification checkmark that lets people know that an account of public interest is authentic. We turn now to the latest on the tragedy out of South Korea. More than 150 people were killed during a Halloween celebration, crushed to death in a narrow alleyway. At least 2 Americans are among the dead, and there are growing questions as to how this happened. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
Horror during a Halloween celebration in Seoul over the weekend. A crowd crush leaving at least 154 dead and over 149 injured in the neighborhood of Itaewon. The tragedy becoming one of South Korea's deadliest disasters. Many were toppled over by the surge.
Oh my God, oh my God.
I just saw in front of me this mass of people running and pushing and screaming and like panicking.
At least 2 Americans are among the dead. Ann Giesk, a nursing student from the University of Kentucky, and Stephen Blessy, also studying abroad, his father speaking out in an interview.
I feel like I have a hole in me, a big hole in my chest.
Blessy says he talked to his son before he went out that night.
I texted him through WhatsApp, said, I know you're out and about, but be safe. I love you. We started calling his phone through the WhatsApp app over and over and over, just continually for like 2 hours, where finally a police officer answered.
Australian Nathan Tavernidi tried to save his friend, but was unable to.
I just was grabbing her hand saying, I'm going to get you out. But then she disappeared.
A week of national mourning has been declared in South Korea, a growing memorial at the scene with people leaving flowers and messages for those who were lost.
Police have acknowledged there were not enough officers on hand to control the crowd, saying there were only 137 officers on duty for the roughly 100,000 partygoers. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Here's a look at ABC's primetime lineup tonight.
Download the 4 News Now app today.
September 7th was horrible.
All hell broke loose.
80% of the town lost their homes.
My family's home burned to the ground.
It was just heartbreaking.
Kathy was there for us.
Not taking political sides.
She's done a lot.
Put her name on the line to help here.
Kathy helped us start the journey to rebuilding.
She went above and beyond. She genuinely, actually cares.
I'm Kathy McMorris Rogers, and I approve this message.
When I was told I had a brain tumor, my life disappeared in a moment. I feared for my future, but even more, I feared for the ones I love. How would they move on without me? But when my doctor told me about the Gamma Knife of Spokane, everything changed. I can get my brain tumor treated in just 1 day and continue living the life I love. Because of Gamma Knife, I have hope.
She was looking so fine, 5'5" thinking that style.
Where's the butler?
It's John Butler. Hate being judged by your name? So do we. At Consign Furniture and Jewelry, we're not what you think. Our inventory is the best in the Northwest. Like this, and this, and this. Check out the most unique shopping experience in the universe.
In America, we have a pressure from every quarter trying to destroy the opportunity for people to be able to build their own futures. We see an economy that has gone from the strongest economy that we have seen to one in which we have raging inflation. Our borders must be protected. We are seeing unprecedented entry, 2 million illegal entries, with the drugs and the violence that comes with it. I'm going to fight to make sure that we stop those problems. I'm Mike Crapo, and I approve this message.
Living in the Inland Northwest has its advantages, and one of those is working with amazing people who dedicate their time and efforts to help others. STCU's Volunteers Count is a program to say thank you for this service and inspire others to give back too. Please tell us about a volunteer at a local nonprofit that inspires you. Go to KXLY.com/volunteerscount and nominate them. Help us showcase those people who give of their time and truly make a difference. Volunteers Count, brought to you by 4 News Now and STCU.
Watch For the People on 4 News Now.
I'm not a big dress-up guy myself, so I got like a scream mask that I like to use and scare people with, so I might just go the easy way.
If you are trick-or-treating in Pullman tonight and see someone in a scream mask, don't worry. It's probably just Coach Dickert. Thanks for tuning into sports. I'm Julian Mendelssohn. Actually, the scariest thing that happened to Washington State over the Halloween weekend wasn't Dickert's costume choice. It was Wazoo's loss to Utah on Thursday. Now the Cougs have to win at least 2 of their final 4 games just to qualify for a bowl game. And it starts against Stanford on Saturday. Washington State has won 5 straight games against the Cardinal, dating back to 2016. The Cougars had no trouble scoring in any of those games. The big concern is if this year's team can do the same. Head coach Jake Dickert said no one magical is walking through that door to help this struggling offense. The Cougars are going with the guys they have, and there is a lot of work to do.
We've fallen short of what we're capable of, yes. Okay, but we're not going to panic. Okay, we're going to keep believing. We're going to stay the course. We're going to keep finding pieces, and we're going to maximize the capabilities of what this team can do. Okay, and I think that's where we're at.
Kickoff between Washington State and Stanford set for 12:30 Saturday from Stanford. And looking ahead, Washington State announced a 12:30 start time for next week's matchup against Arizona State. It's the Cougs' second to last home game of the season. It's also family weekend at Washington State. looking forward to that one. Now, if you bought Gonzaga's pay-per-view matchup against Tennessee last week, you might be demanding your money back. The Zags suffered an 18-point loss to the Volunteers. If you didn't pay for the game, well, think of this week as a clean slate, so to speak. The Bulldogs host Warner Pacific in another exhibition game at home on Wednesday. It's the first of 2 games before getting into the meat of the non-conference schedule against Michigan State, Texas, and of course the big one against Kentucky. Now, it'll also be a chance for the Zags to clean up the mistakes that haunted them in the loss to Tennessee last week.
This is my 4th year here. You know, I'm not going to take it for granted. I'm really excited to play all these teams, especially Kentucky and Spokane. Like, that's just one of my dreams, so I'm super excited.
Just getting these guys in order, you know, getting them suited up and ready for the big schedule this year, you know, it just means the world to me, you know. Learning from the older guys last year, being able to sit back and really, you know, watch and gain knowledge, you know, that's pretty much my whole intention was, so I'm ready to go.
Tip-off between Gonzaga and Warner Pacific is scheduled for 6 o'clock Wednesday from McCarthy Athletic Center, and we'll have live coverage there that evening. That'll wrap us up for sports.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
My dad was a World War II veteran. The promise we make to veterans to care for them when they return home is personal to me. I've brought senators from both parties together to increase benefits, help more veterans find homes and good jobs, and hold the VA accountable to give veterans the excellent care they deserve. I'm Patty Murray, and I approve this message because I'll never stop standing up for Washington's veterans.
Enjoy the natural beauty of Coeur d'Alene with our fall stay and cruise package. Book your stay today at cdaresort.com.
I've never liked political ads that attack, but with my opponent, we better start tightening budgets to pay for the state income tax that he supports. My opponent believes a tent city has never caused an increase in crime. We can expect more crime, more taxes, and more regulations that make housing more expensive. I support safer neighborhoods, lower taxes, and addressing homelessness and housing. I support you, the hardworking people of Spokane. Vote Kim, please, for County Commissioner.
Your retirement is a bridge to the future, and the right Medicare plan ensures your future's healthy. Fortunately, Blue Cross of Idaho can set you on the right path. Your home is their home. Count on them to look after you.
Find the right Medicare plan by requesting your free information kit. Call the number on screen now or scan the QR code. There's no obligation. Our affordable True Blue HMO Medicare Advantage plans give you $0 primary care visits, urgent care, and labs, along with $0 generic drugs. And you'll value significant extras like dental, vision, hearing, fitness, and health coverage away from home.
For over 75 years, Blue Cross of Idaho has been the right choice for Idahans like you and me. It's the Idaho way.
You have until December 7th to find the right plan. To get your free kit, call or visit their website today.
4 News Now is brought to you by Super One Foods.
Coming up tonight on Nightside, a mother found out she had breast cancer when she had trouble feeding her newborn. How her baby's feeding trouble may be the reason that mom is still alive. That's coming up at 11 o'clock.
Tomorrow is going to be soggy. We're going to have rain, particularly in the morning. May get some breaks in the afternoon. A high of only 43. That is a 10-degree drop from today. You're going to feel that. Cool and showery.
Cool and showery.
And good thing that our coats for kids are already being distributed around the region. Today's the last day for donations. Alsco's working hard to clean those coats. If you go to KXLY.com/coats for kids, there's the distribution information there. We should have enough coats to make sure that every child in the inland Northwest can stay warm this winter.
And Alsco has a pretty smooth operation. I went down there once, and man, it is streamlined. I like it.
Oh yeah, they do a wonderful job, and boy, we appreciate all of our partners, especially you. 38 years of keeping kids warm in the inland Northwest.
That's pretty good. I bet you know, if you came a day late, you might still get your coats.
I think you're probably right. Yes, I don't think they're going to turn them away. No.
We encourage you to be on time, like we're always on time. We want you to be on time too. We're never late for anything, so we hold you to the higher standard. However, maybe once we'll let you slide.
Absolutely.
We'll see you tonight at 11 o'clock.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app. See breaking news in your area or have a story idea? Contact 4 News Now.